well, three things: piece of paper, pen, and some tissue. You're going to see me constantly using a lot of tissues because I'm having a lot of sinus drainage today. And a part of what we're going to be doing is going to be dealing with individual alternating nasal breathing. So it's going to clear out your nostrils, and I'd rather you have some tissue handy versus just getting snot everywhere. You know, we're still in COVID situation. And if you don't have a pen and paper handy, you can just open up your notepad on your computer, and that'll work suffice the same.
Hey, good evening, everyone. We're going to get started here in just a couple of minutes. Just waiting for a few more people to show up, I think.
Again, the necessary things for today would be either some Kleenex, tissue, because we'll be doing some alternating nasal breathing. And if you want to physically write this down, you can. So a piece of paper and a pen. If not, you can open up Notepad on your computer and have it just off to the side a little bit. Excuse me for a moment.
Okay, Trayvon, I think you can go ahead and get started.
All right. So again, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Today, we're gonna need a few things for today's session. Those things being either, if you have handy, a pen and a piece of paper, and then some Kleenex or tissue. Specifically, what the Kleenex and tissue is for, it's for whenever we do our alternating nasal breathing, we can breathe into it versus just getting snot and things everywhere, depending on what your sinuses are looking at like today. You may be congested. I'm a little bit congested and draining. So just be cautious of that. We're trying to keep it as sanitary as possible. So have some tissue, Kleenex handy for that part. And then, like I said, you can either use a pen and paper, or if you have a notepad open on your computer, open up Notepad. And the reason for that, what we're going to do specifically with this is we're going to write down the individual, and this is for yourself, your individual will, and then your influence. And I'm going to get more into that a little bit later on. And that's going to go into how we decide to focus our meditations. Because again, meditation isn't just sitting in a room in silence. It's actually manifesting something. Usually you can sit in a room before you prepare to do something artistically creative, So remember, those are just different ways to manifest your meditation. And those are meditations themselves. So any of your creative outlets, those are ways you can use to meditate. It's just a more active and intuitive form of the meditation. Do we have anyone that's been in here in the prior 2 sessions from 2 weeks ago? All right. Now, for those people who have been in here from the prior sessions, have y'all been applying this throughout the past week? Just, whenever you can. Not saying taking a whole hour to dedicate to this, but maybe 5 minutes out of the week, 5 minutes out of the day. All right. So Miss Selena, Miss Fatima, and Miss Mary Lou, I believe. Thank y'all very much for coming back and attending. So if you've been applying this throughout your week, throughout your day-to-day practice, how has it, just real quick, we're just going over this as a quick review, and this is your intrapersonal experience with it. So how has this been affecting your day-to-day activity for the times that you're able to sit down and check in? And again, just so y'all can know, the focus of this is to try to help smokers get away from the idea of smoking. So getting away from those craving feelings, the feeling of needing nicotine for something. So again, if anyone in here is a smoker, this is actually catered towards y'all, but it's open for everyone. So don't feel like just because you may not be a smoker or you don't smoke tobacco products or anything, you cannot flourish from this. You can use this and apply it any and everywhere. So whenever you get your stuff situated, as in like some Kleenex and either having your notepad open or pen and a piece of paper, just let me know in the chat that you're ready. You can just drop an R that saying that you're ready, and I'll get started to what we're actually be using that for. All right, so just going on to it, we're again just reiterating, we're using the Kleenex for nasal breathing, alternating nasal breathing. So whenever you do that, you don't get snot or boogers everywhere. And then the pen and paper is for you to write down your will and influence. Now, note, for every activity we participate in, our will and influence is going to change, because sometimes we may just have to be focused on the matter at hand. Sometimes we can focus on the grander scheme of things. So just depending on the situation, just like with each meditation and each application for the meditation, it's a case by case scenario. So one case can be you're getting ready for a test at the end of the week. So, maybe Monday you're going to review a little bit. Tuesday, you're going to write down some questions. Wednesday, you're going to review these questions and see if the information you reviewed on Monday is relevant to these questions. Wednesday, you might get with someone else, ask them your questions. Thursday, sit down, prep, and finally on Friday, you're ready for the exam. So you took all that prep time, that premeditated prep time, to get ready for this. And ideally, at this moment, right now, your will, your influence can be different from 5 minutes ago or 10 minutes ago, an hour ago, 3 days ago. But you still have a global will, and then you still have a global influence. So we're going to be focusing on that. And if it's not necessarily something that you want to focus on right now, as in like your overall goal, you can focus on maybe something that you want to do within the next 10 minutes to an hour. So your will and influence is going to be a part of that. What your will would be is, for the idea of us being an atomic being, we choose what we want to do, but we only choose what we want to do based off of how we've been influenced by the world around us. Follow me on that? So that means other things influence their will onto you as well. So if something's imposing or influencing their will onto you, and that changes your will for the moment, then you've been influenced. And this goes with the same thing of how people are like influencers and things like that on social media, because that's going to influence the trends and things that people choose to invest time into. So the idea of your will is literally what you want to carry out throughout your day. And the idea of your influence is how that is carried out. The idea of your influence is how that is carried out and what people perceive from it. So that's the main focus for today, is understanding and identifying what is your will and what is your influence. And that, like I said, that can change depending on the time of the day, depending on what task you have at hand. If you have to go get people from school, your will is to pick them up from school. The things that will influence you into doing that are things that are going to make it easier. Are they going to be ready on time? Are you going to be ready on time? Do you have anything that you need prior? So these are all little things, building blocks that work into that main function. That main function being understanding what it is you would like to manifest through your will. Again, your influence is influencing the world around you to helping cater towards that goal, towards that intention. So whenever you're ready, just take a moment in your notepad or notebook, write down your will. So, excuse me, excuse me. So it can be something that you want to accomplish, something that you want to see through. It can be a goal, it can be anything. It's your will. And then after you write down your will, write down to yourself a way you influence it. And it doesn't have to be a long explanation or a long will. It can be like literally one word, and then your influence is one word. So let's say if my will is courage, self-preservation, and how would I influence this throughout the day? I can influence courage by encouraging people. And encouraging someone doesn't mean that I push them to doing something. It can just mean me even complimenting them, raising up their confidence, because that courage deals with confidence. And if those two are raised up, then they're only going to build. So we're associating the idea of your influence to be the thing that carries your will. Your will is what you're going to stand for at the end of the day and at the beginning of the day. So once you have that situated and you have that written down, we're going to set our intention to be focused on that will. And then the idea of our influence is going to be ways that we can influence the world around us to catering towards that will. So we go to school in hopes for education to get a better job or let's say to create a better job. When I say create a better job, you're taking different elements and using those influences and those elements to build something new. So we're going to use the idea of our will as our point, our fixed point for this meditation. And then the influence will be used to help keep the mind focused on that fixed point. So you're going to have the distractions, which are another form of influence, but are you going to allow those distractions to influence you to detour from your will? And again, just a reminder, this was catered towards those people who are trying to get rid of their nicotine addictions, battle those habits. So if that is your will to be able to stop smoking, to be able to reduce the amount that you smoke, figure out your ways to not only add influence, but gain influence for that. So taking a moment, we're going to do about 6 breaths, checking into the body. After you do 6 breaths, remember to have your tissue handy, because from there, we're going to go into the nasal breathing. So we're going to do 6 breaths, checking into the body, checking into that will, establishing it, grounding it into the mind. And then as you feel distractions enter the mind, just allow them to enter. Keep your mind focused on the goal, which is the will, and allow for that influence to push the distractions away. One moment. So whenever you're ready, always remember the key points of the breath. Start with the belly, The second part is the rib cage. The third part is the upper chest. You're gonna take your hand, place it onto the belly and your inferior lungs. Excuse me, I have to breathe through my mouth today just because my nose is kind of stopped up and it's running. So your inferior lungs. And take a deep inspiration through the nose. Hold. Slowly release. Checking back into the body, checking back into the breath. Take a deep breath in. Hold. Slowly release. Deep breath in. Hold. Slowly release. Deep breath in. Hold. Slowly release. Deep breath in. Hold. Remember to keep the mind focused on the wheel. Allow the influence to push away distractions from the mind. Slowly release. Checking into the body. As you feel the breath, feel the lungs, and allowing it to travel into the muscles, into the body. Listen in response to how the body is communicating in response to the breath. Slowly checking into your breath. As you get ready for your breath, your exhalation, your expiration, reach over, grab your tissue, grab your Kleenex, get it ready. What we're gonna do with the right hand, we're gonna take the right hand, ring finger or middle finger, place it onto the bridge of the nose. As you place the hand onto the bridge of the nose, you're gonna take the tissue, place it in the palm of the hand. You're gonna place that over the nose as well. You're gonna use either your right thumb or your right index finger to close the right nostril. And then when it comes to the left nostril, you use the left ring finger or left pinky, whichever finger is free. I use my middle on the bridge of the nose. Whenever you're ready, you're gonna take a deep breath in. We're gonna close the right nostril, and then you're gonna slowly release, clearing out that nostril. So getting ready, release. Take a deep breath in through that nostril. Alternate nostrils, closing the left, opening the right, and then release. Take a deep breath in through the right nostril. Alternate your nostrils, closing the right, opening the left, and then release. Deep breath in. Alternate and release. Deep breath in. Alternate and release. Deep breath in. Alternate and release. Deep breath in, alternate, and release. Deep breath in, alternate, and release. Another benefit to the alternating nasal breathing is you get oxygen flow to each half of the brain, and you get to regulate and feel how the oxygen flow is traveling through each nostril. Now, as we do the breath to check in, always remember to keep the will in mind. Keep the intention in mind. And as you practice, be aware of the distractions. Allow your influence to push away the distractions. You bring awareness to it, acknowledge it, and let it pass. Taking a moment, checking back into your breath, taking a full breath. Slowly release. Deep breath in. Hold. Slowly release. I'm going to state this for those who feel like the will is overcomplicated. It can be simple things like being joy, feeling powerful, self-empowerment. So the will doesn't necessarily have to be a physical thing. It could be an emotional thing, a mental thing. It just has to be something that you can set your mind on and focus to. And through day-to-day practicing, through day-to-day breath work, understand how your body will begin to cater around and look for the small nuances or small details to bring back that goal into your reality. So again, it doesn't have to be a physical thing, as in, let's say someone has a will, they want to manifest a new car or something material. It can just be a state of mind, a state of being, a state of self, and you're bringing yourself to this daily, constantly through each breath. And like I said, depending on the day, depending on the hour, your will can change. It may change based off the things you need done at that moment versus the things that you would like to do. So we always have to be able to allocate time and space for these things. Each person goes at that a different way, but the initial steps that we take start with the breath. Start with us checking into ourselves, being present in that moment to continue the presence that we're leading ourselves into. Once you start being more present in the moment, you never lose that presence until you lose yourself in that moment. So checking into the breath, bring yourself into the present moment, bring your will into the present moment with you, be it something material, physical, mental, emotional. With each in breath, you're feeling yourself fill lungs, not only with the air, but the necessary steps, mental steps, physical steps that you will need to take to creating and manifesting your intent and your will. With each in breath, you bring yourself to the awareness of any external distractions that could influence you off path, acknowledging them and then letting them pass. Checking into the breath. Remember to always take deep, full breaths down to the belly. Whenever you take a deep, full breath into the belly, you automatically take a full breath into the rib cage, into the lungs. And you automatically take a full breath into the upper chest. Always remember to cue into the belly because that will be a physical sign of your body taking a full breath. The more oxygen you're able to get into your body, the more time you give your body to process the situations that it is handling internally as well as externally. We work on the intrapersonal communication skill. So then when we get to an interpersonal level, it makes it easier. We are aware of how we are feeling, so we are aware of how to communicate and convey that across. Excuse me. As you listen to your breath, if you wouldn't mind, to the people who are participating, what are some of the new sensations that you're feeling? And in regards to your will, how was that something that can help you achieve that? From the new sensations or state of being, state of self that you're feeling at this moment? In regards to that will, what are different ways you can use this feeling to help influence yourself to reaching that will, that goal? Just so you know, a lot of this practice is just daily reminders, reminding yourself of how amazing you are and what you are capable of. Again, the question was simple. It was throughout the break practice. One, how does it make you feel? And then two, how does this feeling help you reach your goal? How does this feeling influence your influence to helping yourself get closer to your will? Just so y'all can have an understanding, one of my personal applications for this is in the work field I am in as a licensed massage therapist. As I check into my breath daily, it reminds me that I'm not only just internally communicating with myself, but I'm internally communicating with my clients. Because as I'm putting pressure and working through their bodies, what I'm doing is I'm feeling something and I'm using my intuition to either allow me to release this tension from them or lead to a better way of them to function to break up this tension. That's one way I use these practices daily because everybody who I work with, not everyone's coming in for the same exact work. So I have to be able to align my intent with their intent. What is the intent that they have for the session? As my intent is to help them feel better, they communicate across to me the things that they may need. And then I use my tools to achieve this goal with the information and knowledge that I know as well as gathered from working with them. Again, this doesn't have to be something that's just internal in self. It can be communicated across. for a few years, I would always ask them what their will and influence was, and they would tell me. But the thing is, I didn't want them to tell me. I wanted them to think about it and reflect on it. But understanding that them telling me is them first visualizing their acknowledgement of it, which is great. But for you to tell me, now you have to decide, am I telling this person this thing to influence them? Or am I using them as a mirror to re-influence myself as I visualize it? So there's two parts to it. Checking into the breath, reminding yourself of your intention, of your will. Checking into the breath. Thinking of new ways to influence this will or carry this intention throughout your everyday practices. Whenever you're ready, or clear your lungs. You want to do 4 breaths at the belly, 4 breaths at the rib cage, 4 breaths at the chest, just to recheck into the breathing mechanics. Because those are the most important practice to mindfulness. How are you handling the oxygen around you so that the oxygen around you and inside of you can be processed so that your mental organs, your physical organs can then handle the world around you. Whenever you're ready, clear your lungs. Take a deep breath in. Start with the head on the belly. Then do 4 breaths at your pace. Whenever you're ready, you're gonna give yourself a nice, gentle hug. Checking into the rib cage, breathing all the way to the belly. Then do 4 breaths at your rib cage. Keeping the will in mind and discovering new ways that you can carry the influence of this to the world. Whenever you're ready, bring your hands to the top of your chest. 4 breaths at the upper chest. Again, meditation does not have to be the idea of you sitting and breathing quietly and checking into the body. It can be you manifesting something. It can be you setting your intent to work towards something. Those are meditations. Meditations aren't just limited to being in one space, doing one set thing. It's everything. You going to go on a brisk walk, bring your awareness to how your body is moving through the world, through each step. That's a meditation. You deciding to take a stand, check into how your body's feeling as you're standing. That's a meditation. Every action we decide to participate in is a meditation. But we just have to decide, is this a healthy meditation for ourselves or is this an unhealthy meditation? Is this a meditation for our joy, for our leisure, or just for an actual specific goal and intent. We define our practices and then we practice. We don't practice and then wait for the definition. We define and then practice. So you already have your definition, your intent set and carried throughout the practice the whole time. That was the reason we started off writing down the will. So we knew what our definition, our definitive point was. The idea of writing the influence or checking into things that will influence it was for us to understand what are things we can do to carry this definitive point throughout our day so that people can perceive from their reality point of view what your will is, what your actual actions are, or how you influence. So checking the time, we're coming up to 7:36. Thank you very much, HCC. Thank you very much to all those who participated. Again, today was focused on understanding your will and your influence. A strong will not be influenced to do weak things. A weak will be influenced by a strong will. A strong influence doesn't necessarily mean it will change the will, but a strong will guide a influence. So Ms. Selena, thank you very much for attending. Mr. Jared, thank you also. To all who all checked in, thank you all very much. Namaste. So again, we'll be back on Thursday, and then if anyone is free on Friday morning, I will be teaching a physical-based yoga class. So we'll be doing some stretching and stuff going on Friday morning, but Thursday we'll go back onto understanding the will and influence. Because for each individual person, everyone is gonna have a different will, and they're gonna have different influences for this will. And your influence doesn't just mean it's internal; it can be an external influence that reminds you that that is your goal. So again, thank you very much, everyone. I hope you all have a great day. Again, Thursday we'll be back around the same time. So, Mr. Roy, if you had any announcements, again, thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Traymon. It's a good class. Like Traymon was saying, this Thursday will be the last time for this session for the smoking, but you can meet with Traymon on Mondays and Friday mornings through Rec Sports. You can get that through Presence also. If you notice over in the chat, there are a few things to look at. 4 winners will be selected for gift cards who attended this session. You'll be notified by email. There's a few free t-shirts left. We only have smalls and mediums left. And you'll see a link over here in the chat about where you can sign up for one of those t-shirts. And there's also a few more smoke-free events going on. And just click on this link over here. Other than that, I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. And hopefully you'll be back Thursday. And you can tell some friends at school too about it. Other than that, everyone have a good evening. And we'll see you Thursday. Bye.